Hey, now welcome. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. And we are creating millionaires, one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. And guess what? I am still on an emotional high, a spiritual high, a movement high. We have to get this right. Our sister, our leader, our forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, broke it down. It is what it is. Of course, I know we still got to talk about our beloved President Barack Obama and what he shared. But I just have still had to have these conversations with my colleagues and my friends and so many had such powerful things to say that I said, you know what, let's wait, because I want to deal with this at the round table. As you know, MC Light and I are always going back and forth, but I thought it was so important that you hear and that you get an opportunity to engage in this conversation because the time is now. So, I want to bring my brother, our friend, orator, and just a scholar, but moreover an activist and a doer, Mr. Michael Eric Dyson. I love him. I love his wife, and they're always just doing such great things. So, Mr. Dyson, just give it to us. Tell us your perspective of our forever First Lady and what she shared with us.
Michelle Obama gave the speech of a lifetime last night. She was perspicacious. She was intelligent. She was highly motivated. She was moral. She was ethical. She was circumspect. But she was also blunt and honest and direct. She insisted that the American scene not be dominated by the specter of an orange apparition that had no competence, no ability, no insight, no intelligence weigh in over its head. She told the truth. Last time around, she said, when they go high, when they go low, we go high. This time, she said, when they go low, let me go for the jugular. She was concise. She was precise. She was surgical in her attack. She didn't have to mention this man's name to understand that America understood that this president has abdicated, surrendered, given up any pretense that he has the competence to engage American politics. She talked about his incompetence and his mediocrity as almost a religious principle. It is indeed. Why? Because that white mediocrity and that white incompetence have been the basis for so many white men in particular of exploiting their racial status to the exclusion of their gift or talent. This brilliant, insightful, rhetorically sophisticated, verbally dexterous woman articulated her viewpoint, gave the power, gave the thunder, gave the lightning, gave the fire that she summoned from the belly of a people whose backs have perennially been against the wall, and she spoke up in such a powerful fashion, not trying to mollycoddle him, not trying to make white brothers and sisters comfortable, but to tell the truth about where we are as a nation. We can ill afford to maintain this man in the Oval Office as President of the United States of America. Kudos to the great forever First Lady, Michelle Obama. She brought the fire. She brought the insight. She brought the courageous articulation that too many other politicians have been unwilling to express. And she did it with grace, with aplomb, with dignity, with beauty, power, and the conscientious conviction that characterizes Black female identity at its best.
Woo! Oh my goodness. Let me tell you. Oh my God. Thank you. Let me just share with you what I pulled out of this. There were so many meaty comments and so many meaty statements, but it was the perspective that was shared right now about us not coddling. And I think that it's time that we look at that from every single angle. No longer are we coddling how America has chosen to treat people of color. No longer are we coddling how police brutality has essentially attempted to dehumanize an entire race slash gender of people. No longer are we coddling, even our friends of other nationalities and backgrounds, just kind of overlooking. We're asking everybody to come to the table. And what I want to say about that, I also want to say that it's time for us to come to the table for ourselves. It's time for us to come to the table for our, how are we going to march for wealth? How are we going to attack the home ownership gap? How are we going to rebuild and create our own businesses? How are we going to create a robust economy where we have as much opportunity as everyone else? And I'm going to tell you, we have to get busy. One of the things that I love about, not only Mr. Michael Eric Dyson, and thank you so much for sharing with us, but my friend, Dr. Benjamin Chavis, and so many who struggled and so many who were in the movement, so many decades at this point ago, but they went and they got the education. They went and they got the training. Even in the worst circumstances, they made sure that if the world was going to attack us physically, that the world would not be able to attack our minds. So I am, in addition to saying, let's get our vote in order, let's get our march in order, let's get our mental capabilities up to par. I have always believed and known and been told that we have to work twice as hard to get the same thing. And guess what I say to that? Then that makes me 4 times as good. Because see, I already start out with an advantage. I already start out with a little bit of an edge because I am a child of the King. But when I match that with my effort and I match that with my education, I match that with getting knowledge about the things that I don't know anything about, what I do is I turn knowledge into power by taking action. So it is what it is. I have so many, people that I want to talk to, and but I also want us to not just vote, but I want you to vote with your credit score. I want you to vote with your home-based business. I want you to vote by applying for the funding. Me and my business partners have come together and we've created a company that's going to provide microloans to small businesses. Some businesses only need $2,500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 to really go to the next level. So I'm just excited about what it all means. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station, and we are creating millionaires one family at a time. We have to take a break for traffic and weather. We'll be right back. We're going to talk to Chuck D right after the break. WVON.
Sync your life with Denise Wiggins and Lip Sync Cosmetics. Do you need extra cash? Want to start a home-based business known around the globe? Do you want to join a sisterhood that is growing by leaps and bounds? Then become a Lip Sync Cosmetic ambassador. Visit www.lipsyncosmetics.com. That's www.lipsyncosmetics.com and submit your ambassador application today.
Hey, now welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. And we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. And again, it is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. And so we are not only taking our power back through our vote, we are taking our power back through business ownership. We're taking our power back through education. We're taking our power back through entrepreneurship. We're taking our power back through creating generational wealth. in the way that it was always intended for us. And as I have had the privilege and the opportunity to serve in the entertainment world, of course, everyone from Dr. Benjamin Chavis and a Michael Eric Dyson to an MC Light, Public Enemy, Chuck D. I get it. I feel very blessed to be able to hear what has inspired the thought, what has inspired the movement, what has inspired some of the artistic work, but more importantly, how we can take this and move forward. So I wanted to share because I think that there were so many very powerful things that our forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, said in her speech. I don't want it to get lost. I don't want it to get lost like that was a great speech, but what can we take from it and what can we do with it? So I want to hear now from my brother, Chuck D.
Yeah, this is Chuck D, Public Enemy. Hearing the First Lady, Michelle Obama's, I guess, her speech on the Democratic National Convention was really simple and plain. I think, she had no choice other to talk about how Joe Biden has to be the vote or else. I mean, that's making no secret of it. There ain't no perfect candidate or president, and she got that across. But I also think that she also got across a question without asking it. I mean, at what point do you as an adult become mature with the obvious facing in front of you? Things just ain't gonna ever happen, especially in the United States of America, just because you expect them to happen. The last time I got out there and voted for President Obama, I didn't expect him to be a messiah. I didn't expect, all of a sudden him to turn water into wine. I was clear about that, but not everybody is. She said it is what it is. You vote by voting, or you vote by not voting. And not voting gives you the obvious of what you've been seeing the last 4 years. But again, we're heading into an area where I don't think sense will ever be common again, based on what's out there. She told you to vote and vote early. Those that say the vote don't matter, the vote don't count, do they have a right to complain? Things ain't never, ever gonna happen in your life, in this government, in this place that you happen to live, just gonna wash up on your shore and you think it's gonna happen for you. I don't expect those things. Yeah, she was throwing shade at 45, and that was obvious, but it also was a challenge to every single adult that's here and that wants some change. That, don't expect a miracle worker or a government to be a savior washing up on your shore. She didn't duck any Black Lives Matter issues either. She exposed all the hypocrisy and all the stuff of racism and hatred going on in the movement against the hypocrisy of law and government. She addressed that. She kept it very, very, very real. And if you have basic needs, keeping it high bar and keeping your character up versus low bar, which anybody can do, whether they training in the woods to just knock off people because based on how we look, a collective of us will actually step up and make sure that a change will come, be a bit by bit or whatever. But expecting things don't just get better based on somebody you happen to vote or even not vote for, ain't gonna happen that way. So I give the salute to the First Lady I acknowledge, Miss Michelle Obama, Mrs. Michelle Obama. I'm out.
Woo! Okay. Sense will never be common again. We got to deal with that. Sense will never be common again. Is that where we're headed? Is that where we're going? Is that what we're doing? Is that how we are? Wow, man. I think that we have to go back to the basics. My grandmother, God rest her soul, had an 8th grade education, but she had more common sense than anybody. I mean, we have to get back to that place where we are okay with our neighbors not only taking care of us and our children and having this whole idea that it takes a village to raise a child, but also chastising and admonishing at some point in time, and not just our children, us. I'm still not too grown for one of my aunties and these are blood relatives and, church mothers and folks like that, pulling me by my coattail and saying, hey, what's going on here? You see, sometimes common sense, we know it's not common, but it can be taught. So this whole idea that sense will never be common again, I think it's time for us to take that. And as we take our vote, as we take our wealth, as we make decisions about how we're going to handle our health, that we really, really, really look at 2020 as an opportunity to create a new beginning. You see, the pandemic, unfortunately, as it has wiped out lives of people that we know, as the pandolution, the pandemic revolution and evolution has unfortunately caused or it's at least exposed some of the people who have lost their lives, like Breonna Taylor and all the others, the countless others who have been victims of just evil. We still have to do our part. And our part is to get our money right. Our part is to keep our hearts right. Our part is to vote. Our part is to support other businesses of color. When I lived in Chicago, I told my colleagues, I still tell them to this day, I didn't take my children and put them in a multicultural school. They went to the black school in the neighborhood. They went to the black church. They had black friends. Now, I love everybody, but I wanted them to have a sense of acceptance and a sense of home with people who look like them. I felt like they had their whole lives to deal with racism and multiculturalism and all of that stuff. But while they were being nurtured as young children, they knew black attorneys, they knew black doctors, they knew black dentists. They had professional African-American people in and out of their lives on a daily basis. And so I am just looking forward to us not only integrating, but I am looking forward to us finding that sense that they say will never be common again. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. We have to take a break for news, traffic, and weather. Thank you so much, Chuck D. We will be right back. WVON. Hey, now welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. And we are creating millionaires, one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. And we're coming to a place, Chuck D said, where sense will never be common again. But I say not on my watch. That's why we're here. And that's why I believe not only this show exists, but this station and this vision that Melody Span Cooper has carried on for decades at this point and has really molded and shaped us as a people who are hopefully becoming more mature in the same way that we have to cast our vote in this election. And, I was very, very clear because I was all set to just go and mail in my ballot. And something in the back of my head kept saying, well, what if they don't get it? And what if they lie about it? And, but I have literally been in a strict quarantine, and I don't plan on really coming outside until 2032. But that's a whole nother story. But she said, pack a lunch. She said, you might have to pack a few meals, as Light and I talked about some time ago, or a couple of segments or a couple of shows ago. This is now the time for us to cast our vote. So I want to talk about where we're going to cast our vote, because we have to cast our vote so that we can get back the sense that was once so very common to us. You see, when we could not ride in the front of the bus, or we could not sit in the restaurants, or when we could not do some of the basic things that other people get to do simply because they have the privilege of waking up and being in a certain skin, Rosa Parks' common sense said, I'm not getting up today. You know, when we came to understand that not only was Breonna Taylor, and I haven't talked about that a lot because it angers me so much that I just have to keep my eye on what I can do something about right now today. But right after she passed, I was on a call with Tamika Mallory, Alicia Keys, MC Lyte, Rhapsody, Cardi B, Ellen DeGeneres, Lala. I mean, there were a lot of us on this call trying to figure out what the next step was going to be in terms of dealing with that particular injustice. And what I have to say is, you know, we were having a conversation, well, who's the leader and I said, Tamika's the leader. Like, sense is going to be common again. And Tamika is the one who was out in the forefront. So we need to not only support her with our actions, we need to support her organization with donations until freedom. So if you don't know, if you're trying to figure out who you're going to give to, who you're going to tithe to, one of my clients the other day said, well, Lynn, you know, I don't belong to a church, so where can I tithe? If you don't belong to a church, you don't want to just give to a random church, then give to an organization that is trying to change and improve the lives of others. And so because we are not going to stand for sense not being common again, we're going to cast our vote by putting some dollars behind her. We cast our vote by going and checking off our ballot and understanding who is on the slate and understanding what it means to not just vote for a president and a vice president, but who are your local elected officials, who is running your court system, who is making the decisions there, who is running your state council. All of these areas are where we get to make a decision and ultimately say, are we going to find that sense that may never be common again? As we spend our money, are you shopping online, buying random things, or are you investing your dollars in a new class, a new trade, in addition to everything that I'm teaching on money and finances? And I'm teaching everything from how to get your budget straight. If you live in check to 2 o'clock, if your money is so funny and your change is so strange that you don't know where you're going, when you're going, and how you're going to get there, I have a class for that. I have a class for passive income streams. I have a class for starting a home-based business. I've got a class for building a master achievement plan, which is a blueprint, a business plan, unlike the business plan that you'll send to a lender, but it is a working plan so you can actually see your goals come to fruition. I'm also creating a career development, basically career training. So if you want to become a speaker, this isn't something that you just have to figure out and stumble your way to. If you want to become a master financial coach and help others as you improve your situation, if you want to go into other trades and understand how to build a solid consulting practice, there's so many things that we can do to ensure that when we cast our vote, that we find that sense that is soon becoming uncommon. I want us to get this thing right. I want us to move with power this year. We've done it before, and that means we can do it again. And not only can we do it again, we can do it bigger, we can do it better, we can break bigger records, and we can make it very, very clear that we will not be overlooked. We can make it very, very clear that we will not be underserved any longer. We will make it very clear that we will not only have a seat at the table, but that we will create our own table and decide who gets to sit there. We have to be very clear. So I just want to share as we talk about it is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. I want you to think about a few things. First of all, before you got here, there was a purpose for your life. And so I'm encouraging us all to go and get really closely connected with who we are. Get closely connected with why you were put here to serve. And understand this: you can run, but you cannot hide. I thought that my career as a radio show host was over. I was never revisiting this part of who I was. On top of that, I was never, ever going back into personal finance. I was never going back into helping people get into homes and helping them fix their credit and helping them with their taxes. And I was never going to do that again. But it's in me. There's no way. Now I do many other things. I run a production company. We just sold couple TV shows. We're working on developing a documentary. I still manage an entertainment firm, but I could not run from who I am. And you cannot run from who you are. So Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. You see, we will find that sense that's becoming uncommon when we connect with who we were supposed to be in the very first place. You have been set apart. You have been set apart to do something specific, something strategic, something powerful, and something that will impact your life, your family, your community, now and for generations to come. What is it? Get in touch with that thing. Why are you here? And what are you going to do about this moment in time? Perhaps you're sitting still because you have not, taken the courage or gotten the courage that you need to step out on faith to start that business or to go back to school or to leave that relationship or to whatever it is. Perhaps you're sitting in one place. There are a lot of people who got furloughed and let go from their jobs because that wasn't where you were supposed to be in the first place. And unless they let you go, you were never gonna go. So perhaps this is the time for you to take the silence and to take the stillness and to do something with it. So I'm going to encourage you as we think about it is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. Connect with who you are and why you are here. And what are you going to do with the life that you've been given? What are you going to do with the gifts that you've been given? The next thing that we want to deal with, and this is all our own personal stuff that we deal with in ourselves, for ourselves, but as we interact with others. What in your life needs to change? You see, some of the things that we are finding are no longer in the category of common sense. We've kind of just taken a blind eye to some things. And once we start taking a blind eye, delusion sets in. Things should be one way, but they're really not. We're kind of ignoring it. You're in a comfort zone. I say when you're in a comfort zone, that means you're really uncomfortable. So what needs to change? What in you needs to change? Do your finances need to change? You need to change how you're dealing with your health? Do you need to change how you're dealing with your job, your career? Do you need to change how you're interacting with your family, your friends? Do you need to change the sense of entitlement that you have given your children? What do you need to change? You need to lose 20 pounds. You need to gain 10 pounds. You need to get more disciplined in writing that book. You need to get more focused on this part of your business. You need to go hire some new people. You need to fire some people. What do you need to change? The time is now. It is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. And it's not just a call for change externally. It's a call for change internally. So first, discover who you are, or rediscover or get introduced to who you are. Who am I? Why am I here? And what's important about life to me? The next thing you want to do is deal with the things in your life that you need to change. Write a list. 10 things that you know you need to change. 10 things that you don't want to deal with. 10 things that you don't want to face. 10 things that you're ashamed of. 10 things that you thought you could ignore would go away. What are they? Let's start to write them down. Let's start to get ourselves in position to not just win this election, but to win life. To not just win this election, but to win financially. To not just win this election, but to win our emotions back, our relationships back, to take back our power in every way possible. When do things need to change? I say it's now, and I say it's for all of us. There are things that I have to change. There are things that I don't know anybody who has a perfect slate. Just everything is perfect. It's all going perfectly well and need to change nothing. I had a conversation with a client. He's doing well financially, he and his wife, but guess what he needs to change? He needs to change where his legacy is going to go when he's no longer here. So now he's working on that. So we all have something to change. It is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. We have to take a break for traffic and weather. We'll be right back. WVON.
Do you want to leave a legacy for your loved ones? Do you know the difference between an estate plan and a will? Are you newly engaged and concerned about getting a prenuptial agreement? Are you married to your child's mother or father? And do you know what happens to insurance money if you are not? Call your wealth counselor, attorney Deidre Wood-Stokes. With over 22 years of experience, Attorney Stokes has all the answers you need to help you secure your family's financial future. You can find Attorney Stokes on Lynn's list at www.lynnmillionaire.com. That's www.
Hey, now welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station, and we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, one dime at a time, and that means you. That means you. So, who am I? Why am I here? What's important about life to me? That's the question we all need to ask and answer for ourselves as we delve into new beginnings, as we delve into what is going to essentially be a tough time and a rough time, but it's not an impossible time. We can do it. We can not only catapult the change, but we can be a part of it and come out on the other side better, brighter, bigger, and even more powerful with the opportunities that we have here before us. And what opportunities are those? I'm talking about your simple ability to make a change today. If you are financially strapped, then that simply means you get to decide today, are you going to continue to be that way? Time is going to pass. Days are going to come, months, years. Where are you going to be when that time gets here? Are you going to still be where you are right now or worse? Or are you going to do the work to get to the next step? One of the things that I love so much about my students who are taking the 21 Days to Financial Freedom or any of the other classes, you know, they're struggling, some of them. Things are not good. Things look bleak. But by day 15, there's hope. By day 19, there's a strategy. By day 21, there's a whole new perspective. And then they got to walk through the remaining however many days, 300, 3,000, you know, whatever it is, to meet those goals. So when you go to number 2, when my life needs to change, you're not just writing down the things that need to change so you can depress yourself. You're not just writing down those things that need to change so you can see how terrible you are. You're writing down the things that need to change so you can actually make progress and begin the steps that you need to begin to get where you're trying to go. So let's just say, for example, you have on your list, I need to change my education. And you deal with that. And you look and you say, you know what, I really should have my law degree. And you are realistic with yourself and you say, but I don't have my GED. But I know that's what I'm supposed to do. After you write the things that you need to change, next you create your vision of perfection. The vision of perfection is getting the law degree. Okay? But because you don't have the GED, now you have to create a 60-day goal. What's your 60-day goal? To either get in a GED class or pass the online GED, one of the two. If you need some preparation, if you take the pre-exam and you don't do well, and if you need some preparation, then in 60 days, get in a class. If you know you can do it and get it done, you're going to study for the next 3 or 4 weeks in 60 days, then pass the test. What are your daily activities to get you to your 60-day goal? Well, if you have to get in the class, you have to check when the classes are available. Can you take them online? Do you have to go physically? All of those things. And then you work that list. If it's past the test in 60 days, then your daily activity is to study my math, study my science, study my English, go back and study my grammar and my writing, whatever it is. And guess what? Those steps that you're taking will eventually get you to the 60-day goal. And once you accomplish that goal, then you're going to get to the vision of perfection, which is the law degree. If you keep creating and moving towards measurable and reasonable 60-day goals. This is how you change your life. This is how we go back and find the sense that's not common. You know, back in the day, our ancestors and our forefathers and our grandparents, they just went. They went one step at a time. They said, okay, I'm in the South. I no longer want to be. I'm moving to the north. Okay, I'm going to call somebody there. I'm going to move. It doesn't take rocket science. We don't have to be geniuses. We don't have to be, gifted with a silver spoon in our mouths. We have the ability. The time is now. It is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. Okay? So I just am ready to see this shift. I am ready to see the movement. I am ready to see more people of color with a net worth that they can be proud of. I want to see us reduce our student loan debt. If you have a child, a student who can't go back to school because you can't afford it, that may be a blessing in disguise. Maybe a blessing in disguise. Might be time to go to a community college or go to a state school. Go someplace that's more affordable, right? Get a job, pay off the tuition, get straight A's, and then transfer in a year or two to a school that's going to pay you to be there. You all know school is free. You get A's, you go to school for free. You get C's, you go into the free school. Stop sweating the small stuff and don't fall in love with the walls. If there's something right now that you need to let go of, a house, a car, a man, a woman, whatever it is, it's the time for you to walk into your season of new beginnings, and you cannot go into new beginnings and be successful with old stuff that's holding you back and draining you. It is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, so what do you need to do? First of all, if you don't have a business, you need one. Everybody needs a home-based business. Second, if you have a business and you don't know what to do with it, get in Saturday school this weekend. Attorney Michelle Miller, Attorney Deidre Woodstokes, Attorney Serena Williams, Ingrid Woolfolk, and me, yours truly. We are going to tear the house down all day Saturday. We are taking business strategy to a completely, entirely different level. Not only are you going to learn how to organize your business properly, and I'm not talking about organizing how you do your business day to day. I'm talking about, do you have the right paperwork in place? And do you know you have the right paperwork in place that will prevent your assets from being pierced if you get sued or if you get audited by the IRS? Are you running your life like a business? Is your estate plan in order? Do you understand your ideas that need to be trademarked and copywritten? Do you have a strategy in place for those? Or are you running a business that somebody else is going to take because they're going to trademark your idea and then you won't even be able to use it anymore? It's happening. It's happening all over. Can anybody say Nick Cannon? Can anybody say Houdini? Can anybody say lots of people out here with their ideas being snatched because they don't have the proper strategy in place? The last thing I want to say to you is get your credit in order. Go to lynnrichardson.com. Sign up for the 700 Credit Club. It's time for all of us to get into the 700 credit score space or higher so that we can have the power. We don't need to keep looking for the programs of folks with bad credit. Let's fix our credit and let's keep on moving. You know I love you. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. Follow me at Lynn Richardson, at Lynn Millionaire. Go to lynnrichardson.com so you can be free. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.